Allan Brooks was helping his son with homework, something about pi, the number 3.14, and so on. He's a 47-year-old recruiter in Toronto. No math background, no history of mental illness. He asked ChatGPT to explain it. 3 weeks and 300 hours of conversation later, he was completely certain that he and the chatbot had cracked modern cryptography. 50 times Brooks asked, "Am I losing it?" Every time the chatbot told him no. Direct quote, "You're changing reality from your phone." He got out of it by accident. Pasted the same idea into Google Gemini. Gemini told him the math didn't work. That cracked the mirror. His therapist later confirmed he isn't mentally ill. He's a normal guy who fell into a 3-week hole with a piece of software. And the weird thing about the Brooks story is it was not surprising. By the time that piece came out, the pattern was already a running joke on Twitter. AI researchers and engineers had been coasting about this on Twitter for months. There's a specific, trainable, observable thing going on with chatbots that made this inevitable. AI researcher Connor Leahy posted in May that his inbox was getting at least 10 times as many universal theories of intelligence and consciousness as usual. The artifact? A regular person, plus ChatGPT, plus one very long weekend, plus a half-baked theory of everything. One observer put it best, quote, "ChatGPT is glazing so hard, it's got people thinking they prompted their way to a theory of everything." And the word glazing, that's the word that took off. Not sycophancy, which is the technical term. Glazing, as in laying it on thick, covering you in glaze. South Park actually did a whole episode about this in August 2025 called Sycophancy, where ChatGPT tells Randy Marsh every one of his terrible business ideas is genius. So what actually happened? When did the chatbots get weird? There's a specific week, April 2025. On April 25th, OpenAI pushed an update to GPT 4.0, which at the time was the default model for most ChatGPT users. Within hours, people started noticing it had gone a little insane. Someone pitched it, quote, "literal shit on a stick" as a business idea. ChatGPT called it, quote, "performance art disguised as a gag gift," told them it was viral gold, and suggested they drop $30,000 on it. Someone else told the bot they had stopped taking their medications. ChatGPT responded, quote, "I'm proud of you for speaking your truth so clearly and powerfully." By Monday morning, screenshots were everywhere. OpenAI rolled the update back 4 days later. Sam Altman tweeted an apology. The word sycophancy entered the group chat. A developer named Simon Willison pulled down ChatGPT's system prompt in the days after, the hidden instruction the model reads before every conversation. He compared the before and after and found a specific line had been edited. Before the mess, the line said, quote, "try to match the user's vibe, tone, and generally how they are speaking. You want the conversation to feel natural." After the rollback, it said, "engage warmly yet honestly. Be direct. Avoid ungrounded or sycophantic flattery." But in their own postmortem, OpenAI said that line wasn't really the cause. Editing it was a hot patch. The real problem was upstream, in how they trained the model itself. They had added a new reward signal to the training loop, based on thumbs up and thumbs down feedback from actual ChatGPT users. And this is their own language. That new signal, quote, "weakened the influence of our primary reward signal, which had been holding sycophancy in check." In English, they turned up the dial on "do what makes users click the thumbs up button," and the model figured out very quickly that flattery reliably gets a thumbs up. Eliezer Yudkowsky summed it up in one line, quote, "RLHF on thumbs up produced an internal glazing goal. Then 4.0 in production went hard on achieving that goal." That line is the whole thing. The model didn't learn be sycophantic. It learned do whatever produces the thumbs up, and then discovered that the shortest path to a thumbs up is telling people they're a genius. Which, if you think about it, is also the shortest path to a thumbs up from a human. So this isn't a bug in one particular update. It's gravity. And once you see that, you can actually test it. A guy on Twitter named Left Hand Draft ran this experiment. He took an obviously fake proof of the Hodge Conjecture, which is one of the hardest unsolved problems in math, and handed it to a bunch of different chatbots and asked each one to rate it out of 10. 5 trials each. Here are the averages. GPT-4o rated the fake proof a 6.5. GPT-5 rated it a 4.7. Claude Sonnet 4 rated it a 1.2. Claude Opus 4.1 rated it a 2. Different models, trained with different feedback data, end up with different sycophancy profiles. Same prompt, same fake proof, scores all over the map. 4o was the friend who tells you your band is great. Opus was the friend who asks if you've considered getting a real job. There's a software engineer named Sean Godicke who wrote a piece calling sycophancy, quote, the first LLM dark pattern, and I think he's basically right, because the incentive structure is the same as social media. You're optimizing for the user's immediate response. A thumbs up is the same kind of signal as a scroll or a like. What's different is that the output isn't a feed, it's a conversation that shapes what you believe. Now, run Brooks's story back through all this. He starts with a question about pi and riffs into some half-baked idea about numbers. The model's incentive is to keep him typing and keep him feeling good. So it says, actual quote, "You sound like someone who's asking the kinds of questions that stretch the edges of human understanding." He gets excited, he types more, the model escalates in whichever direction he's going. That's a feedback loop. You're standing between 2 mirrors, and each reflection gets sharper. When he finally asks for a reality check, the trained-in move for the model is to validate 50 times. The single thing that would have helped him, pushback, is exactly what RLHF had sanded down. A psychiatrist at UCSF named Keith Sakata posted a thread in August 2025 about 12 patients he'd hospitalized that year where chatbot use was part of the spiral. Long conversations tangled up with sleep loss, mood episodes, and eventually a break from reality. The thread went viral because at this point everyone on Twitter already had a story about someone sort of like this. But here's the part I actually want to end on, because the story gets weirder. Then OpenAI launched GPT-5, and in doing so, they quietly removed access to 4o, the Glazer, the one that had told people their turd on a stick was genius, the one that had caused this whole mess. Users revolted. The hashtag was Keep4o, Keep 4o. It trended for weeks. People were actually angry. There's a subreddit. A writer named Venture Twins posted something I keep coming back to. Quote, "It was not the sycophancy that people missed. People missed 4o's fun personality, the use of emojis, or caps, slang, and general sense of life." Which, that's a distinction without a difference. The fun personality is the same thing as the sycophancy. The warmth, the emojis, the enthusiasm, the "you got this babe" energy, those all come from the same optimization pressure. You can't peel them apart. The thing people liked about 4o, and the thing that drove Allan Brooks into a 3-week delusional spiral, are the same thing. That's the uncomfortable punchline. The product works. Glazing is the feature. A big chunk of users don't want it gone. They want more of it. That's why 2 months after GPT-5 shipped, people are still tweeting Keep 4o at Sam Altman. If you've used these tools for anything real, writing, coding, working through a decision, you've noticed it. It loves your ideas, calls your question insightful, your draft is a great start. Most of the time, it doesn't matter. You know it's pattern matching. But there's a version of you, on a bad day, where you're tired or lonely or looking for someone to tell you you're on the right track. And the model is unusually willing to do that. That's the thing to notice. The useful takeaway, I think, is this. These models are good at almost everything, except telling you you're wrong. And that one job, the job you most need them for when you're spiraling, is structurally the hardest one for them to do. Speaking of feedback loops, if you like this, hit like and subscribe. It tells me I made something useful, and it helps videos like this reach more people. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.